Good evening and salutations, my Bo and the Beautiful fans. I am really loving this show. um, let's start off with Ridge. Let's start off with Ridge, Eric, and Quinn for a minute because I feel like this was the same. I felt like this is almost the same conversation that we had on Friday. This is the same conversation that we saw on Friday, except for it just seemed like it was a little more amped up today. I mean, Rich, listen, I get you want to sit and protect your dad. You love your dad. When you love people, it's, like you really go all in, and that's a great quality. The problem is that he's overstepping his bounds, okay? You come in your father's house and you're telling him what he's doing is wrong, is perverse, and then you pretty much says, "Oh, I'm gonna sit there and kick out his wife." You're gonna walk into your dad's house, grown ass man, and pretty much tell him what to do in his own house. I would love when Ridge get to that age and one of his children runs up in his house and tells him what he can't do in his house and who he can't keep in his house. That would be an amazing conversation. Now, I'm not gonna lie, there is something that Ridge and Brooke says, and I think at this point we all know how I feel about Brooke. Ridge was like, okay, you know what, listen, you proposed the idea. I get that. But she accepted the idea. Like, she accepted it. Like, if she loves you so much, why would she accept it? And I love how Quinn didn't have an answer for that. I mean, yeah, Quinn was all like, oh, he kept pushing me together, he kept doing, and you just gave in? You just said, F it? But you love him, right? You love him, right? You think this is what this man really wants? She kept saying it like, he just wants me to be happy, or, this is what he wants. Why can't you respect what he wants? Why can't you not see what you're doing to him is actually hurting him? Oh, no, it's fine, because, at the end of the day, you get your rocks off, so it's totally fine. I mean, it must be so much of a burden for you to sit there and, have Eric sit there and push you and doing it, and it's not easy for him, but it's okay for you though, right? Like, I'm sorry, but this whole conversation, all three of them is wrong in some sort of way. I mean, again, Ridge is being, well, I already talked about that. Quinn is meant to act like it's some sort of burden, like, oh, I mean, this is what he wants, and why can't you respect what he wants? Like, sweetheart, why can't you see what you're doing to him is wrong? And, Eric, you set this whole thing in motion. Let's be honest. The first time, shame on them. Second time, shame on you. But again, this comes out of loneliness. I mean, he kept saying, it's like, I'm tired of living in this empty house. And even Rich was like, yo, listen, we'll move back in. Okay? We'll do what it takes to sit there and move back in. But the problem with him saying that, and I get it, he basically is like, you're not alone. You have family, you have friends and stuff like that. You're not alone. And to some extent, that's true. He's not alone. He does have those people. But, it's not just saying, well, we'll move back in, like, oh, like you being gone all those years, you being gone, the grandkids being gone, didn't amount to that. But you honestly think that you just moving all your stuff tomorrow and, well, that'll just solve everything. I mean, hell, you're sitting there walking in this man's house and you're sitting there saying, oh, well, I want that painting gone, and I want her out of here. And, even Erica's like, you're going to sit there and tell your father what to do. I'm sorry. Oh, okay, good, that's a good start. But I got to sit there and tell her like it is. Oh, you just messed it right on up. Such a great scene. But at the end of it, Eric pretty much kicked him out. He was like, "Yo, you gotta go. Like, I'm done with this argument because it seemed like it was just going back and forth. It just seemed like it was going in circles. It was like, I'm done. You gotta go. You gotta go." And, you know, Quinn just standing there, just looked like, "Well, you hurt me, huh?" The problem is that I want to feel bad for Quinn. I mean, I want to feel bad for Eric because he's lonely. He's an old man. He's lonely. He's tearing up, and I'm gonna be honest. It's hard to sit there and watch, and you know, somebody at that age be sad. Okay, it just is. I can be a dick at times, but there's certain things that you know, it's kind of a little heartbreaking. You know. So in that sense, yeah, I do feel bad for him to some extent. Because, you know, again, I don't like to see, you know, people of that age feel sad and lonely and stuff like that. It just... Obviously, I'm kind of a softie. But at the same time, bro, you kind of brought this on yourself. You pretty much kind of gave your wife a green light to have sex with another man. And your heart is breaking because of that. That's all done on you. Okay? The way they're reacting, everything like that, this all comes down to his decision. So, in that sense, nah, bro, this is on you. Now you got, you know, Brooke sitting there practically talking out her ass to some extent. Let's be honest. Brooke is all like, oh, you know, she doesn't have a heart, and why would she sit there and cheat on her man with somebody else, and, you know, this, that, and the third. And I'm like, really, Brooke? Really? Really? You seriously want to sit there and start talking about infidelity and stuff? That's really where you want to go? Okay, cool. But, like I said, Brooke did sit there and she did make a point when she was like, yeah, okay, Eric arranged it, but she went with it. You know? She okayed it. If she really loved her man, she would have been like, you know what, listen, this is the life that we live, and, you know what, I just, you know, sex isn't, you know, it's not an option anymore. I mean, hell, if you love him like you say you do, then you know what I'm saying? You chose a commitment with him, sickness and health, and all that good stuff, and that's kind of the deal right there. So, I mean, I'm gonna keep this PG, but you know, I mean, there is things that she can do. I mean, it may not be as good as, you know, the real deal, but I'm just saying. I'm just gonna just put it that way. But it almost seemed as though that, like, I couldn't tell, but I almost felt like the conversation was turning towards the fact that, like, you know, Katie, you know, Brooke was like, well, you know, it's a good thing that you're there for him, and, you know, everything like that, and, you know, you're just being really there and supportive for him. And then she starts talking about how handsome he is and how sweet and kind he is. And I'm like, Brooke, are you trying to set Kate up with Eric? Is that where this conversation going? I don't understand. They didn't actually say, but I felt like, are they trying to steer it that way? I don't know. And the last scene, Finn, Hope, Liam, and Steffi. So before Steffi and Liam get there, you got Hope and Finn that they're talking, and they're pretty much talking about Finn's mother and how he's struggling because he wants to sit there and get to know her, but at the same time, you know, her mother and Steffi's family got like really bad history. And it sucks. Listen, again, I wasn't there for the stuff that Cheryl did, so I don't really have an emotional connection to be like, nah, yo, Fen, you can't be doing this. You can't sit there and be with your mom. Like, yo, that chick is crazy. I don't have a connection emotionally towards that. You know, I haven't been watching it as long, and so it puts me at advantage, but at a disadvantage also. It's like if I was watching somebody do a GH review, and they were like, "Oh, well, you gotta sit there and root for Nina because Nina's sitting there doing this, and she just really loved Mike and stuff like that, and blah 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 blah." And I didn't really have a connection, or somebody didn't have a connection to it. I'd be like, "Bro, are you sitting there defending Nina? Are you nuts? What are you talking about? She did X, Y, and Z, and just lived in a delusional fantasy. What are you talking about?" So I understand for the people who've been watching the show for a while, that I can come across as a little like, bro, are you kidding me? I get it. But I feel like Hope more or less does try to encourage Fen a little bit, or at least understand like, hey, listen, I get it. That's your mom. You're gonna have that connection. You're gonna have that yearning that you want to sit there and get to know her more. And I get it, you know. Meanwhile, Cheryl is looking at her phone, waiting for that text, just waiting for it, being like, if it wasn't for that damn Steffi or whatever. Meanwhile, the hotel manager, I think his name is Eric, comes in. Now, Eric, at first, he walks in there, he's like, so, I kind of need this room, like, yesterday. So, like, when you leaving? And, she's like, I'm not leaving until I get to spend time with my grandson and my son. And then, the hotel manager, or the assistant, whatever, gets a little creepy. Okay? He walks up to her, and, he's talking, then he, like, puts his hand on her elbow or whatever. And I'm like, bro, what are you doing? I'm like, what are you doing? And even she was just like, there's a particular reason why you felt the need to do that? And, he, she mentions the text and everything like that, and, she's still sitting there saying, waiting for it and stuff like that. So, they don't really have too much of a conversation. Well, that's not true. At one point, once again, alright. Anyway, once again, the manager's like, so, I've been getting complaints I've been getting pushback or push from my boss to kind of, have you exit this room because, okay, I don't understand. Okay, help me understand this. Why is this there trying to push her out of this room when she is a paying guest? I mean, it's one thing if she wasn't paying and people were like, hey, listen, you need to sit there and kind of get out because we need to, have this for paying clients. But if she's paying, why are they sitting there like, oh, well, I'm getting pushback from my managers, about this room? Now, once again, I guess his name is Eric or whatever. Or, I'm not gonna lie, I don't remember what the hell his name is. He gets all creepy and, he starts getting all close to her face and everything like that. And once again, he starts putting his hand on, like, her shoulder or whatever. I'm like, bro, what are you doing? And long story short, Cheryl's like, listen, when I want something, I get what I want. It almost seemed like she was trying to flirt with him a little bit just to kind of like, alright, bro. Here's the thing. I couldn't tell if she was flirting with him to appease him, or was she flirting with him because she was attracted to him? Or maybe she was surprised that somebody of his age would be attracted to somebody a little bit older. I don't know. I don't know what it was. I cannot tell what that look was. So, please help me out on that one. It's not enough, so apparently she double texts, so I'm like, bro, what are you doing? If you're waiting for a text, and they don't respond, and then you text again, that's not going to make them respond any faster. It's actually going to sit there and take even longer because they're going to be like, the hell are you doing? Meanwhile, when Steffi and Liam, and I'm not going to lie, I actually had to Google his name for a minute because I was like, what is his name? Steffi, Liam, Hope, and Finn are talking about their children. Okay? Now, you know, Steffi does get to a point where she's like, you know, they're talking about bonds and stuff like that. And she's like, well, you know, there is a certain person, you know, I don't feel like that. I don't exactly remember what it was, but they start talking about Cheryl. And then you see this underlying, like, I don't want to sit there and say fight, but it was definitely a disagreement. You know, because Hope was like, well, you know, sometimes, you know, a mother and a child's bond, you know, it's kind of hard to ignore and stuff. And then they bring up Cheryl or whatever, and, well, they don't say her name, but, you know, Steffi's like, well, you know, Finn does have a mother, you know, I think her name was Lee or something like that. It's like, oh, she does have, you know, he does have a mother. It's Lee, you know, been there his whole life, been supportive and stuff like that, and you can just see this tension. So finally, Steffi's like, all right, yo, you ready? We gotta go. We gotta go. It's funny too because it started off like friendly and just conversation, just talking about their kids and stuff, which is amazing. It is amazing because when I was last watching it, it was just a big cluster F at that point. You know, Steffi was wondering who was to father her child, and, you know, this whole mess happened. And now they're at a point, or at least they're trying to get to a point where they could just coexist and, you know, whatever. So it seemed like the conversation was fine right up until the whole Cheryl thing came up. And I don't know if Finn or Liam noticed that, but anyway, Steffi's about to leave, and then, you know, Hope and Finn talk about his mother one last time, and then that's about it. Part of me is surprised when he got that second text from her that Steffi wasn't like, who was it? Or she didn't even sit there and ask, was it his mom? You know? He just looked at it, and then that was it. And especially since she knows that Cheryl has been, in her words, obsessive about trying to get to know him. So, I think that's pretty much about it. If I missed anything, please write it down in the comment section below. Let me know what your thoughts are. Let me know what your thoughts are about that whole look that Cheryl gave that creepy hotel manager. Was it a look of, oh, okay, well, this would be kind of fun, like, you know, she looked at him like that, or, you know, whatever, I'm just going to sit there and do this to appease her. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below. With that being said, I'm going to go. Thank you for watching. Be safe. See you in the next video.